Well, welcome back. And my second guest today is Tom Kruse. Tom is with Professional
Home Inspection Company.
Home Inspection Company. Thank you very much. And I know what that is too. He is actually the Business of the Month for Holmen Civic and Commerce Association. And this year what we're doing every month is we'll have a guest with us that is a member of HACCA and is their Business of the Month. So Tom, how long have you had your business in Holmen?
Well, I moved to Holmen in 1998, and that's when I got my home inspection license. I actually started inspecting in 1996 down in Georgia, where my wife and I bought an older house, and we, I just learned back then that I just loved remodeling, and I love tooling around houses and learning and all that. So I decided to start my own business while working full-time at another company, and started in 96. We moved up to Holmen in 1998 because of things like the fireman's dance and just a real community that this place has. And moved here in 98, and I got my license to home inspect in 98, and I started full-time inspecting in 2004. It's
very good. And how is that working for you?
It's doing very well. I've got great people that work for me. We have a great support staff. I love educating people.
Why don't you take a minute and tell us exactly what your business does?
Well,
what your service is? Well,
what we do is, percentage-wise, I would say probably 80 to 90% of our business comes from people who are buying or selling homes. It's a very referral-based business, and what we do is we do a snapshot of the house, an objective review, very detailed 3 to 4 hour review of the home, and it's unbiased. It's very it's visual. It's not technically exhaustive. We don't test for. You can test if you want to as a home inspector, but we stick pretty close to the standards. We there's just so many things with a house that visually you have to watch for. That I'm not a jack of all trades. I understand that there are professionals, and I do refer a lot of professionals because it's really important that a person has there's many different skill sets on a home. And when the person, a house is built, either even a brand new house, it's still got problems usually.
Do you do things like, do you look at the electrical system or the furnace system in the house to see if it looks like it's adequate for the square footage that you have to take care of?
It's a great question. No, we don't, and you would think we would. But we, if you have like a furnace, the types of windows, the compass setting of the house, 2 stories versus 1 story, how long the runs are from the furnace to the far duct, all play a factor with if the furnace is sized correctly or if an air conditioner is sized correctly. Those things we don't. Those are more technical. What we do is we check for visual things with the furnace, normal operating controls. Is it produce? It's most furnaces nowadays, I'd say 80 to 90% of them are moisture-producing furnaces. Look for evidence of moisture. Moisture is one of the biggest attackers of homes, either from internally from systems or externally from the rain, groundwater, those plumbing. Water can be very destructive for a house. So we don't, but we do. We look at the electrical system too. Sometimes people think a home inspection is like a code inspection.
Yeah, that's kind of I think where I was coming from, is wondering if that's what you do.
Well, with a code inspection, usually there's 3 inspections. They come and look at the footings and the foundations, look at the framing, and then they come look at the finished product. They don't open electric panels typically. I'm not a code inspector, so I'm not there watching them, but I have been. I know code inspectors, and I've talked to them. They generally don't open electric panels. They don't go look in attics. They don't really run the furnace. They're not going to run the water, making sure it has good drainage and good slopes of different fluids and different pipes. So it's much more investigative than a code inspection. And a typical inspection lasts 3 to 4 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So you kind of go room by room and.
Room by room, open doors, windows, test electrical outlets. We do have voltage testers that I can check for stray voltage if I think something's not working. I have had a situation, you turn a light switch and there's no light or in a bathroom, and I kind of know where the light is. I'll take my voltage tester and I'll put it on the wall, and they forgot to install the light fixture. So that happens. I've had a house once, since it was out in Sparta, where the kitchen outlets didn't work unless the living room outlets would not work unless the kitchen light was turned on.
Oh, cool. Little cross wiring there?
Yeah.
Well, I'm married to a carpenter, so I understand a little more what you're talking about than probably some people do. But I think that it's very important, especially if you're buying an older house. You know, some of the newer houses that are out now pretty much meet a lot of the codes.
Correct.
You know, as far as the right glass in your windows and double pane or all these different things. But it's the older houses. I have one of those where we actually had to install a second electrical box.
Okay.
Because the wiring wasn't sufficient.
Okay.
What was in there was old wiring, and we had to redo all that.
One thing I like to say, this is really nice to be able to share my thoughts with you today. I always tell people one of the strengths of a home inspection company, or maybe two of them, is first of all, you have to be thoroughly, very, very curious, constantly curious in everything you do. And we have the market cornered on objectivity. We don't sell anything. I'm not trying to sell you windows and try to sell you a roof or try to sell you insulation. And there's new products that come out all the time on homes, and sometimes it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Apparently, supposedly, 5 years later, maybe not so good.
Right.
And there's one thing we do is we teach people how to operate a house, because it's very important that you understand moisture control in a house, and there's different variables that will affect a house. I was talking with a Energy Star inspector yesterday on how larger soffit areas on south-facing walls do create moisture problems below soffits, and they're starting to see this more. It's a very interesting business, and if you always tell, I'm past president of our association for the state, I tell my peers, if you're not curious, if you don't get on that ladder every single time you think you might see something, get out of the business, because you're going to do the business a disservice. So,
and how wide of an area do you service?
Roughly 50 miles of La Crosse.
Okay.
Pretty much. We also are, I want to put this little plug in for my daughters. My company is a corporate sponsor for the La Crosse Area Youth Symphony Orchestra, La Crosse Area Youth Symphony Orchestra. March 24th at Onalaska High School, she's going to be doing, she's a clarinetist. She's one of the three best clarinetists in the state. She does honors band, and she's got a solo, so I'm real proud of her.
Yeah.
So,
and you're going to be the same night as the fire dance in Holmen.
Yeah.
But you know, Tom, there are no dates on the calendar that aren't competing with something.
That's true. That's true.
So you, as a parent, a proud parent of a student that's involved in that, that's where your time and energy has to go. We understand that.
Well, we moved here in '98, and I've never been let down. It's a great community. The fire dance, I didn't know a whole lot about that until Doug spoke earlier, and I was like, wow, that's really great.
Yep.
And there's just so many little variables of Holmen that hope we'll get a new library eventually too. We're working toward that. It's
in the works.
Yeah, it's great. Everything's great about. I'm really glad we moved here. It was not a mistake.
Very good. Well, we're glad to have you.
Thanks.
We're glad to have you as a member of HACCA. I know that you attend a lot of the meetings and participate in things that they do, and that's important for our local businesses to have that networking that comes through there. Yeah.
The last meeting was very well attended. It's nice to see some positive energy. There's a lot of good energy. Things are going well.
I think it's hard for people to understand that a little village like Holmen has over 120 members in that business association. There's a lot of people that you just don't see, but they're there. And like you don't have a storefront. No. You work out of your home, but your business is very definitely a part of our community. So we're really glad that you're there, and we appreciate your being involved in the village. And I'm sure, thank you for the sponsorship of the Youth Symphony, the same. So thanks for coming in today.
Thank you, Nancy.
We'll look forward to seeing you in the community.
I'll be around on a roof or in a crawl space or in an attic.
Find you someplace.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Tom is the owner of Professional Home Inspection Company, and was our Business of the Month for Holmen Civic and Commerce this month. So thanks again for coming in today.
Thank you.
And stay tuned for some announcements about upcoming things in the village.